Hello and welcome to Weekly Strange News. In this show, we take a look into the news and headlines, pick out curious reports of the strange, the weird, and the mysterious. Anything from UFO news to science advancements, the paranormal, and stuff labeled fringe science and fringe phenomena. Each news item we go over in the show, I will place all the links to them in the description box below once this live show is over, as well as chapters on the timeline index. Hello and welcome to all of my first-time viewers and listeners, everyone watching this live, and of course, also those catching this on replay. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, as we cover 3 live shows right here every single week, covering topics from UFOs to the paranormal, fringe, and then everything strange and mysterious. We're actually doing today's show on a Saturday, and people are like, what's going on, Christina? Well, my work schedule is all over the place. I am working 2 jobs right now to go ahead and really buy an RV that I've been planning for as long as I can remember. But I'm not doing a GoFundMe, I'm not doing a Kickstarter. And the big reason behind that is because I really want to earn this RV to travel the United States and hitting all the paranormal and UFO hotspots. So I really encourage you to hit that notification bell, as the shows might be shifting for honestly, who knows how long. So this way you are up to date on when the show will take place and what time. Because as you can see, for Weekly Strange News, it's always been on a Friday, but now it's on a Saturday. Maybe it could land on a Sunday. Who knows? Maybe even on a Monday. All right, it's getting kind of wacky over here. So that's a little update before we even get started. Please hit that notification bell so you do not miss any of the 3 live shows we do right here on this channel. I'm going to share my screen here and we're going to get straight into this, because we are looking at a map of countries that are part of the United Nations. Why on earth are we covering this? Well, it's really interesting actually, because the United Nations wants to start looking into, take a guess, into UFOs. This is crazy stuff, because according to Libertarian Times, Francisco Guillermo, a member of the European Parliament, has called on the European Union to establish a system for collecting and analyzing data on UAP, highlighting the need during a recent session. And he emphasized the importance of incorporating a program for UAP data collection and scientific analysis into the up and coming European space law. And this request aligns with the development of new legislation that is spearheaded by the European Commissioner and involves collaboration with the European Space Agency. This is, and I cannot emphasize this more when it comes to UFO news, is the timing. The timing is spot on. And let me just say, I have to give credit to Paul from the UAP show that sent me this article, because it glazed by me. I was like, oh my goodness, thank you so much, Paul, for sending this one over. And if you come across any strange news, email me, DM me. And if it's strange enough, we'll definitely be covering it. So looking at this, let's go into more depth. Why now? Why did the EU say, you know what, guys? It's time to research UFOs as a collective, because there are a few countries that have their individual UAP offices. We can look at China, Japan, the United States, Canada, parts of South America, and that list goes on and on. But when we're looking at the EU right here, they're saying, as a collective, let's record and collect data on UFOs. They could have done this any other point in time in history, during the time of the EU, of course, when it was first created. But they're like, you know what? 2024 seems like a good time. And don't you think? What do you think about that little thought, that idea that was pushed forward? 2024 has been a promising year thus far, coming in. When we're talking about UFOs, 2023 was a really wacky year, maybe one of the most important years when it comes to the UFO phenomenon and transparency, coming from the aspect of the government. And I mention this all the time, but for all of my new viewers and listeners, when it comes to transparency from the government, it's a catch-22. Half people want to believe them. The other half says, how could you ever believe them? So in my mind, disclosure at the end of the day will come from the people and not the government. But the government, across all countries, has the biggest audience. And so they are touching people's minds that no one UFO show, channel, documentary can reach. They can't reach that same audience. So they are doing us a favor, even though they are splashing and smashing misinformation and disinformation. But it's the topic, it's the questions that are coming out of it that are really important. The EU, they're not an exception to this. They want to say they want to look into this now more than ever. And if they do so, hopefully, at the very least, they make this information public. Now, will they? Probably not. Probably not a lot of it, as that's prevalent across all countries and all governments that have a UFO office. A little bit's dropped here and there, but it's usually a nothing burger. And yes, it's exciting, but they use as many words as possible for any of their reports, make it as boring as possible. And they said, well, we gave it to you. We gave you what you asked for, but we're going to make sure that you absolutely despise it and never ask for one again. But see, you and I, we have discipline and we have drive and also some enthusiasm, and that ain't going to die anytime soon. So we're like, keep it coming. Keep on bringing us those reports. And you know what? Make it better. Will you not? Okay, because we need the goods. We need some meat to that burger. So, when it comes to Francisco, he aims to foster a bipartisan movement with the EU Parliament for UAP transparency, similar to efforts in the United States, despite not seeking re election. And he believes that establishing a common approach for monitoring and reporting UAP could significantly benefit scientific and military sectors and enhance cooperation among EU member states. And he views this initiative as a crucial step for the EU to maintain its competitiveness and address the ability to apply a military into space and also the global threats efficiency, which is a really interesting statement to make, don't you think? I gotta emphasize that. He's thinking to himself, not only does the EU need to understand and collect data on UFOs, but we also need to get a better hand on being able to place our military into space to look at global threats. Which, yes, all militaries have that thought. But for him to say that on record, in correlation to a UAP office, it fascinates me. Is there something that they know that we do not? Is our next war going to take place in space with extraterrestrials or with one another here on planet Earth? It's an odd one here. It really is. And all we have is speculation at this moment. We don't have the answer to it, at least those that are not a part of the government. And Brian, thank you for that so much. And great question there. Because I'm probably looking at a Class C motorhome, but I'm also looking at like bus conversions also, because it must serve as a home, a studio, and a mobile research vehicle. So that's to fit all of those components. And after looking for RVs diligently for about a year, I haven't found the perfect one yet. So I'm still keeping an eye out for it. But thank you so much for that and for supporting the channel as well. Spectre Wolf says a bipartisan effort on this in the EU Parliament will be very difficult. And I'm not too familiar with EU politics. So if you could please expand on that, I would really appreciate on what you mean, because from my understanding, we can say the same thing about the United States, where people at first thought that having this bipartisan effort will be very difficult between the Democrats and the Republicans. But here we are in 2024, and we are seeing that both parties are pushing for it very optimistically. For the most part. Now, behind the scenes, we don't really know what's going on, if they're really pushing forward or not. But out into the public, they're like, it doesn't matter who you support, what party you're in, we're all for it. So that's going to be really interesting. Heineken, me too. I'm so excited for that, to start doing vlogs out in the field covering UFOs and the paranormal and petting stray cats. Okay, like I'm excited for all of that kind of stuff. So that's gonna be pretty darn awesome. Spectre answers my question, saying Parliament system is much more complex than what we have in the United States. Good to know. Thank you for filling in those gaps on that one. Either way, all we can do is wait and see how the EU will address this and if they're going to agree into creating a UAP office in the near future. But if it was going to be any time in any point in history, I think 2024 would be the year to do it, as more countries are getting on the bandwagon. And with the United States really pushing this more so than previous years. But I cannot emphasize enough that other countries, such as China, such as we're even going to look at Chile and Uruguay and Ecuador, they've had their offices for decades, decades. But people are like, oh, the United States, we have to take this seriously now. Other countries, been doing this for a while, for a long while. Getting into our next one here, you're probably very, very familiar with the Chinese spy balloon that took place in February back in 2023. And that kind of, can I say cover up? Is that what it was? Because we don't really know what was going on. There were three objects that were flying over the United States. The first one, they said, oh, definitely a Chinese spy balloon. The other two were unknown, and one of them was shot down up in Canada. So there's another one that just recently took place, and there's already a very quick story behind it. Was it really a weather balloon this time around, or was it a UFO? Let's read this one. This one was taken or reported by by CBS, and it says here that the high altitude balloon being tracked by the US is actually just a hobbyist balloon, a Defense Department official told CBS News on Saturday, which was early this morning. So CBS News first reported that the military was tracking the balloons as it traversed through western United States earlier in the day. And NORAD, depending on who you are, people always correct me. Okay, I know this, but I'm going to say it how I want, just like nuclear. I'm just going to go for it. The military command responsible for air defense over the US and Canada later confirmed it had detected the object and said it was floating between 43,000 and 45,000 feet. Its presence prompted enough concern that the command sent aircraft to investigate. Let's dig deeper into this. If you're dealing with pilots, military officials, NORAD, they know a weather balloon when they see one. Why? Because there are so many out there, right? For them to go ahead and chase it, there would need to be a significant reason to do so. Was it flying over secured airspace? Was it flying over a military base? Then, okay, it makes a little bit more sense on why you should be worried. But for any other reason, just let it do its thing. Let it collect its data as it's supposed to do, at least what they tell us when it comes to these high altitude balloons, weather balloons, and things of that nature. And so they were very quick to release a story and saying, oh, something really weird in the sky, let's go chase it. And then the Department of Defense says, guys, it's merely a high altitude balloon. We've heard that for how long? How many decades? Since 1947, and here we are in 2024. Now, is that really the case? It's hard to say. It really is, but it is worth mentioning here, don't you think? Right now, we have 254 people watching this live and 162 likes. Let's get to 200 likes if, and of course, only if you are enjoying the show. It is a great way not only to tell me that you're enjoying the show, but also to tell YouTube, hey, we want more content like this. And it is the best way to support this channel is just by hitting that like button right down below. And it costs you absolutely nothing. So CBS News first reported this just earlier, not that long ago. So earlier today, but also it's been flying. It flew across Georgia on Friday night. And the official, like a US official, which we don't know their name, said that the balloon appeared to be made of mylar and had a small cube shaped box about 2 feet long on each side hanging below it. And its origins and purpose remain unknown. That was on Friday. And then on Saturday, the DoD says, no, just a hobbyist balloon, that there's nothing to see here. But you had NORAD go ahead and scatter jets to take a look at this. There are some flaws in this story, don't you think? But people aren't covering this. The mainstream media isn't jumping on this story because they got an answer so quickly compared to February of 2023 when there were 3 weather balloons, spy balloons, UFOs, however you want it to be defined, those took a while to address publicly. They were shot down. Some of the debris on some of those balloons weren't collected and captured, which is interesting. And in this case, they didn't mention shooting it down, and if they did, they didn't tell us. What is going on here? Why is this even possible and or legal, allowing these literal unidentified flying objects flying over the United States with no monitoring? There's a lot of holes in the story. Or some might consider these as crazy questions. What do you mean? We got those answers so quick by the government. How can you question them? Do you see the catch 22 here? Because I say it all the time. People think disclosure will come from the government, but at the same time, a lot of people don't believe what they say. So which one is it? When do we believe them and when do we not? Who gets to make those decisions? Can we question this? Absolutely, and we definitely should. Be a skeptic, no matter the situation. Ask difficult questions. The worst thing that will happen to you is someone roll their eyes at you, but not being able to answer the question. That is an answer in itself. I'm going to leave that one there. Let's get into our next one here, because there was pretty big news this week, and it's referring to the United States getting a lander on the moon after 50 plus years. So this little lander right here came from the Intuitive Machines, which is a private company, by the way. And they were able to get their lander on the moon. Now, there was a few little issues. So with this, I was able to rewatch the live that Jimmy was playing on Thursday's show, Mysteries with a History, when talking about the simulation theory. It was interesting because they lost connection with the lander. Shocking, surprising, depends who you ask. You have people that say, we've never landed on the moon before. You have people that say there are alien bases on the moon. You have people that say the moon doesn't have anything on there and we're just the first beings there and we have placed our probes and our drones there. It doesn't matter. That part, whatever you want to believe, it's up to you. Don't care. What is important is covering this and how it was addressed not only by the media, but losing 2 hours worth of connection between the lander and planet Earth on NASA in Houston, Texas. Also, a little fun fact here is that the lander landed on its side. It didn't even land straight. It landed on its side. Here we are in 2024. Okay. And we can't do it right, but it was still a success. I have questions. Okay. I want to understand your expectations here because if it lands on its side, is it still operable? I would assume so. If they are saying, NASA and Intuitive Machines saying that it was a success, or was it merely a success because they were able to get something on the moon? China's been doing this for a few years. India just did theirs last year. You have Japan that just did theirs not too long ago. The United States is running really behind on this. And on top of that, it was a private company, not a government funded company. Now, Intuitive Machines did still receive funding from NASA, but it's private. And they were able to land near the South Pole in order to understand the water components there. But there's more to this. And I actually mentioned this in last week's show, but if you didn't watch it, do not worry. Actually, I recommend that you do. But here's some extra information on it because with this particular lander, that people haven't been addressing when I've been going over the articles since Thursday is that on that lander were additional scientific instruments, and the lander carries a digital archive of human knowledge and 125 mini moon sculptures. Why? I asked you this question last week. I did. Why bother? What is the purpose? Obviously, there's a reason behind it. Now, what is that reason? People will give you their own explanations, their own opinions on it. But intuitive machines, at least to my understanding at this point in time, hasn't fully addressed it. And if they have, it wasn't a sufficient answer. There has to be a reason to why you would decide to have a digital archive of human knowledge. And to be more specific, what kind of human knowledge are we referring to? It's pretty monumentous. Our knowledge, our understanding, our philosophy, our ideologies, religion, science, experiments, and the list can go to the moon and back with no problem. So, what kind of human knowledge are they referring to, and why bother sending 125 mini moon sculptures? Just for fun? Just to say, like, oh, check this out. We are super cool. We sent art there and back. Or is it for someone, for something? Or is it just to like put little things around the moon and say, gosh, we are so freaking cool? Put a little sculpture here, little sculpture there. Man, we are making the moon look so nice and inviting and filled with just beautiful art because we are a cultured species. And the ideas can go on and on. I don't have the answer to that, but I think it's a really weird one. Spectre, thank you for that. It says, just because you're doing a great job, keep up the great work, encourage people to pursue the answers we need and deserve on these topics. Whatever the truth is here, we need to know that it is right. We need to know the truth, whatever it is. We are ready for the truth. At least I want to believe so. I think we are. But it doesn't, even if the truth were to come forward, whatever the truth may be, people will still have their glasses on, not understanding, not wanting to see the truth. Or vice versa, if we look at the movie They Live. Classic. Love it. It's just it's a great one. Watch it over during the weekend, okay, if you haven't seen it. Along with the Blues Brothers, also a classic right there. But They Live, I think, is a really fantastic example of this. Are we ready for the truth? Will we panic? Will we be excited? Will it not affect our day-to-day lives? Depends on the person. Knowledge is power, but knowledge is only valuable when you apply it. Otherwise, it has no meaning. It doesn't mean anything. Now, with this lander, we're able to see in this image here that Colombia was a sponsor. Isn't Colombia, and correct me if I'm wrong, that's fine if you correct me, isn't it a clothing brand? And we're looking at that logo, that font for Colombia. It's a clothing brand, right? Why are they funding intuitive machines for a lander on the moon? Hmm? Now, I want to mention this because I got this epiphany earlier today. I love saying on these shows, correct me if I'm wrong. That's fine. That's why we have these conversations. I do not know everything. I don't know a lot of things. Okay. But I love having these conversations. Whenever I mention that after a topic, the majority of time people don't address that question that I have. And I say, correct me if I'm wrong. Now, when I don't say it and I say something after that, people said, oh, Christina, you're so dumb. You got that wrong. And I'm like, isn't that kind of ironic? Not like it's a problem. It doesn't bother me by any means. I want to learn from you when we do these shows. Your insights and your opinions and your comments are very valuable, not only to me, but to everyone else that reads them. But I just find it funny that when I don't say, correct me if I'm wrong, people correct me. But when I do say it, they're like, no, you're fine. No, you're good. You're good. The human mentality, man, it makes me laugh every time. Every time. John says it could be advertising space. Noodle says the Columbia brand spacesuits for Earth 2. Is that true? They helped create the spacesuits? Because if that was the case, I didn't know that. Now, if that's not the case, then who did? Okay, serious question. Bit says Columbia clothing will be the representation of Earthling attire. Okay, interesting. I like that idea, if that's true. Sounds good to me. Oscar bringing in the jokes, but also a very serious question. Will the next lander have a Walmart logo? Look, aliens would be very pleased with Walmart. Okay. Why? I was thinking about this when I was driving to Walmart, actually. Let me indulge you in my thought. And for those outside of the United States that do not have a Walmart, whenever you go to Walmart. Go on the weekend. Go right when the sun goes down. Te prometo, like it is worth your time. Now I shop there, okay? Living in the States, I do it. I'm not a Target girl. But I'll tell you this. I was thinking about other countries. In Spain, France, other parts of Europe, even look at South America. When you go to the grocery store, when you go to the store, you dress up. You put on like actual clothing that makes you look decently presentable for the most part. So when we were to stop you, you wouldn't duck behind an aisle and not want to be seen. In the United States, you can go to any store in your pajamas and no one will blink an eye. You could go there barefoot if you wanted to. You can go there with your when your hair is still being dyed, like you're bleaching your hair and you have a little plastic bag over it. You can walk to Walmart. No one will consider that you're crazy. You can't do it in other parts of the world. Okay. So if you are an extraterrestrial, or maybe just a little bit weird, right? You would feel at home at Walmart because no one would consider you as weird or crazy. I'm guilty, okay? I like to wear my PJ pants at Walmart because I know no one's going to stop me. And if I see someone that I know, I run to the other store or I very quickly pay for the things that I need and run away. Other countries, no, they dress up nice. Cassidy, thank you for that. You're a wealth of knowledge. Walmart is a freak show. Hey, you said it, not me. Now, they sometimes, they really do have pretty cool stuff. Actually, they have everything that you ever need grocery store, hardware, cars, so on and so forth. It's a one stop shop, baby. And yes, I do really like that. Yep, sweatpants. Oh, AI says, or the gas station. Yeah, but everything's so much more expensive at the gas station. Like everything. I don't go there if I don't have to. Rock says, LOL, I hate seeing people I know at Walmart too. Oh, yes. John aside, okay, I refuse to shop at Walmart. All right. All right. You do you. I'm not here to judge you. So, just to continue on with this lander, we're aware that India had placed their lander in 2023, China back in 2013, and the intuitive machines has been the first for the United States, and Astrobiotics tried to, but they failed, so they're going to try again in late 2024. So there's that. Getting into our next one, this one's hilarious. This one made me laugh so hard. It's also terrible for Air Canada, but not for everybody else because Air Canada had a bit of a chatbot mishap that might make some companies reconsider using AI on their website. Because the issue was that the AI for the website Air Canada invented its own refund policy. They said, we're not going to consult with the humans. Nah, we're not going to do that. You know what we are going to do? We're going to make a really fantastic refund policy. And so then the airline had been forced to honor that refund policy created by AI that Air Canada knew nothing about until it was too late. Because Jack Maffitt was planning an unfortunate trip to his grandmother's funeral, and the chatbot told him that it was Air Canada's policy to refund such tickets. And this kind of policy is like when you lose someone important in your life, like a family member, known as the bereavement policy. And that wasn't really how the policy worked in reality, where you would just get a full blown refund just because someone that you love passed away. And so, as soon as this happened, Jack's refund request got declined. So, feeling the company should honor what they told their customers on the website, Jack escalated the case to the British Columbia's Civil Resolution Tribunal, and the authorities sided with Jack and told Air Canada to refund his ticket. Which, I mean, look, it's just one refund. Just do it and get out of the way. But no, Air Canada had to go to court for this because they didn't want to lose $400. I mean, that's pocket change. It's not worth taking a lawyer going to court for. It's not. So after that, that's what the airline supposedly, their expert chatbot told him they would do. The chatbot said, "You know what? Your grandmother just died. I totally understand. I feel your pain. Therefore, you can get a ticket on us. You can get a ticket on us. Just pay for it and we'll refund you once we receive that you actually did go to your grandmother's funeral." This took place in late 2022. It's only now being resolved just recently on this. So, a lot more companies are using AI to help assist people with their problems. I despise using it. Like, it is atrocious. They do not get anything done for you usually ever, except answering like your basic questions of, "Oh, the store is located here. These are the store hours. This is the phone number. Can I help with anything else? Am I super great?" No, you suck. You're not very good. It's the same one on the phone. When you get AI on the other side, I cannot. I do not want to keep going in this direction for humanity and tech support. Our tech support is bad enough with people. Imagine with AI. Ugh, it gets me, it gets up, it makes me upset. Very specifically today, because I dealt with it today. Oh, I can't do this. So continuing on with this. So Jack from Vancouver experienced a loss in his family in late 2022, and his grandmother had passed away in November of that same year. And so to get to the funeral, he had to fly from Vancouver to Toronto. And he knew Air Canada did provide special rates and possible refunds according to that policy. But he wasn't really sure how it worked. So he's chatting back and forth with AI, trying to get all the answers, trying to collect all the paperwork in order to fulfill the right refund request, or at the very least, a special offers request, right? AI says, "No, just within 90 days, just send this paperwork over and you'll be good to go." At the end of the day, he got his money back for it. And I can assume here that Air Canada quickly took off the AI chatbot off their website. That's why we can't do this again. We simply cannot lose another $400 on this. You can try your luck on it, see how it goes for you. But I think after this one, more companies are being truly self aware on how AI, while it's beneficial, it can speed up your work, it's not fully trustworthy. Okay? Don't use it for your crazy decisions. In this case, don't make it your company's like main point of connection. Jeez. John says, "I'd rather talk to a person." Hey, you and me both. All right. Same here. Any day, because they can actually answer your questions a little bit better than AI. Oh man, do I know that on a very personal level. Chicho says, "Shout out from Vancouver, BC, Canada. Whoop, whoop." Well, the story's for you then. Mark says, "I'm about to the point I just want to hit the wilderness and live like the settlers. Modern society is getting pretty crazy." You know what? I am also ready. I feel you. I want to get a little cabin in the middle of nowhere, be undisturbed, and feed the deer and the elk, and have like 10,000 cats and like 5 dogs. That'd be amazing. Okay. But we're not we I can't do that one yet. Maybe in the future that'd be amazing, but right now, majority of us do have to integrate properly into society. Getting into our next one here. This one is just a little article for you because NASA wants to create their second simulation Mars trip pretty recently, and the applications are open if you're interested. If you want to be in a confined space for 378 days in 1,700 square feet with 3 other people. So in total, 4 people in a very small, I mean, that's tiny for 4 people, to be honest with you. Anyways, applications are open. You can find it on the NASA website, but you gotta have pretty stealthy, not stealthy, that's not the right word I want to use. Um, you gotta have really good criteria. Okay, you gotta have a master's degree in any kind of STEM, like Fringe Science. You gotta have a basic medical background. You gotta be the ages between 30 and 55. You gotta speak English as fluently as possible. And then any other languages if you like. And you got to have a minimum of 1,000 hours piloting an aircraft or 2 years of work towards a STEM doctoral program. Hey, if you got the big brains and if you like crazy things like being stuck with 3 other random strangers for a little over a year and do science projects and pretend that you're on Mars, hey man, do you? That sounds pretty interesting. I could do it for a week, 2 weeks tops, but over a year? No. And let me just tell you that application, I looked at it. It is long. It's a long questionnaire and it makes you put some things in significant detail. Check it out. That link will be in the description box below if you're actually interested in it. But here, they're accepting applications right now, and then they'll give the answer in 2025. It is known as the GIP2. The first one is taking place as we speak. It started last year, and it's still going. So once this new one starts in 2025, the other one should be over. It should be over by later this year, actually. So we'll see how those last 4 people did on their simulation of Mars project. And you also get paid for it, by the way. But the price isn't made public. But from what I saw, it was like on average, like 60 grand, something along those lines. 60,000 US dollars, give or take, which is these days above minimum wage. I mean, right now, what below the poverty rate is what 35. It's 30,000, but you can't live off of that these days. So 60, you're just right above that, just right above that barely, which is now minimum wage. Terrible inflation, man, really gets to you. There's more details on this one. I won't spend too much time, but if you're interested, you can go ahead and read that on your free time. If you're enjoying the show, hit that like button right down below. Oh, wait. That's right. I have a video for this next one, and then I'll show you that one in a second. That article is really cool as well. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here just for a moment. This is super, like, this is so cool. I'm going to share my screen for this video, and I have 2 videos actually. But off the coast of Chile, marine biologists found about 100 new species of marine life. This is so cool. So there's a video for it on some of it, and let me just, gosh, everything's going so fast. Hold on. Okay, here we go. There's no audio for this, so I'm going to read the article to you as you watch the video for this one. Let me just, hold on. I'm gonna have it play on repeat just for a moment. Okay, let's go ahead and play this. And again, there's no audio. But what we're looking at here is that about some 3,000 meters underwater off the coast of Chile, you see striking purple, green, and orange sponges just burst from the rocks. You see sea urchins with maroon spikes gather in colonies with poppy-colored crustaceans pick their way among them. And then you have all of these different species coming forward. And I say, Cristina, I've heard of sea urchins, I've heard of sponges, but these ones have yet to be recorded, the ones that I had just mentioned to you and the ones that you're seeing on screen as well. Why is this significant? First of all, and I cannot say this enough, The ocean is monster soup. All right. 90%, and I'll be generous, 85% of our oceans are unexplored, unscanned, not understood, leaving 10, 15%, like we know what's going on. But here, about 3,000 meters just off the coast of Chile, they found over 100 different species that they've never seen before. Now, just imagine if we were able to understand our entire planet's water, all of the oceans, knowing what's up in there, that's 85% that's ever been unscanned. You will find the Loch Ness Monster. You will find the craziest creatures that man never even considered thinking about. And here, this is a really fantastic, amazing example. Not only that, I have another video for you, but it makes us think of planets out there in our galaxy, in our universe. Let's forget about intelligent extraterrestrials. Let's put that to the side just for a moment. But thinking about reptilians, amphibians, plant life, marine life, the possibilities are unimaginable because life is tenacious. And some of the things that we see on planet Earth are spooky and bizarre. And it makes you scratch your head and think to yourself, how is something like this even possible? This exceeded my imagination. Just imagine applying that to any other planet that, at the very least, is within the habitable zone, to where it's just perfectly close enough and far away enough from the star in order to have water on it. That's what you need. Just got to have a little bit of water and you're good to go. Something will sprout from that. It's insane. It's insane. And you know what? It's so invigorating. It's so exciting to just think about those kinds of things. I have another video for you. And this one has been making its rounds over the last few days, actually, when it comes to marine life, funny enough. But it was found back in 2018 for the very first time. Here it is. These are called skeleton panda sea squirts. When I came across this, I'm thinking this is giving Halloween vibes. I read someone wrote it's giving Tim Burton vibes, and yes, you're getting these cute little sea bags, these like little sea potatoes I've read before as well, of a panda skeleton, and these are sea squirts. It's adorable. I actually made a short about it because I just found it so fascinating. Because once again, it's when we're looking at this, we can only think what's happening outside of our planet. What could be happening in maybe Europa, for instance? We'll keep it simple. We'll keep it in our solar system. We can look at Europa. We could look at maybe at the if we dig really deep into Mars. I mean, it's been proven now that there is water a few miles deep within the surface of Mars. We could even look at our moon, where there is water near the South Pole. If we dig, could we find things like this? The possibilities are endless, and the imagination is such a beautiful thing that every single person possesses. No one can take that from you. And this, before watching this a year ago, maybe even 5 years ago, could you have imagined the ocean to hold something like this? The majority of people would say no. Now, you have a few that just have these most amazing imaginations, or they're marine biologists and they're like, yeah, totally. But the majority of people, this is pretty darn shocking. Now, what's crazy about this particular story actually is that there was a picture that was taken in 2018 and it was posted online. And then it got the attention of a marine biologist, and he's saying, I've never seen this before. What the heck is this? And then just rather recently, and I'm saying recently, I'm saying within the last week, you're getting a lot of news outlets covering the story of this new species that has been found. Yes and no. No, because it's been since 2018, but yes, because now marine biologists are really looking into this, and they found some off the coast of Japan. And so now they're doing investigations on what these kinds of sea squirts possess compared to a few other ones. And just quickly, for those that aren't familiar with sea squirts, they are this they're this very cool sea creature that kind of looks like squishy bags, and they live in the ocean surface to rocks or on the sea floor. And they eat by sucking in water, filtering out tiny food particles, and then squirting the water back out. That's why they're called sea squirts. And what's super interesting is that when they're young, they swim around and have a structure form similar to a backbone, which is why scientists study them to learn more about how animals evolve. And we're kind of able to see that with these skeleton panda sea squirts. It is the coolest thing ever. I love talking about these things. You can probably see the excitement on my face, or you can hear it with my voice. It's just super cool. But what about you? Okay, Tree says, the eyes are sucking out my soul. All right, that's a bit dark. Okay, they're meant to be cute, like panda eyes, all right? Not to give you nightmares. Oh, funny. 316 caught alive. That is so awesome. Hi there. I'm so glad you could make it on a Saturday at a well, like a very different time than usual. So I'm glad you're able to catch it. That is super awesome. Wolfgang says amazing creation. It is, right? It's so freaking cool. I love it so much. And I have one more article for you before we end today's show. And this one is in the category of honorable mentions because it's going to be happening very soon. And I'm going to share my screen here. You probably saw it a little bit earlier of a plane that is going right next to a solar eclipse. And this one's okay. Why is this super cool? Because the airline Delta is offering a path of totality flight ahead of the total solar eclipse that's taking place April 8th. So, this particular flight is known as the Delta Flight 1218 that will fly out of Austin, Texas and land in Detroit, like watching the solar eclipse while you're in the air. If this is if you have time for this, if you have the money for this, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Yes, we get a few solar eclipses, but it's amazing that an airline is willing to follow it to make a special flight for it. They don't have to, but they're like, this is a brilliant idea. This is great tourism, is it not? And the answer is yes, because I would jump on that in a heartbeat if given the opportunity. So if you are already in Austin, Texas, or close by, or if you want to be there on April 8th, you can take that flight and do a once in a lifetime opportunity. I think it's so cool. Mark is saying that they're already sold out. Is that actually true? No. See, that's how cool the idea is. They should have like several planes do this. The fact that it's only one, kind of dumb, but it's still a really fantastic opportunity. Matt says total eclipse is memorable for sure. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But at the very least, watching it from the ground is still very cool. Now, is it as cool as being on a plane and seeing it? No. No, it's not. But you know what? It's still pretty awesome, if you ask me. Stargazer says it looks like a horror movie poster. It kind of does. A very apocalyptic kind of movie poster. Definitely. I can see what you're seeing. Mark says he read about it in the morning and that all of the flights are sold out. Okay, so for all of those that were already looking into this, they're sold out. Maybe, just maybe, Delta might make another plane that will do the same route, or there could be other airlines that would do the same. Okay, we cannot let our hopes down on this one because it's such a brilliant idea. Paul says you need special glasses. You do. I'm going to hope that the flight attendants would give out those glasses. Otherwise, there would be a lot of suing involved on that flight. Zenza Bill says, get some friends and hire a private jet. You know what? Why not? Only if you can do that. But hey, if you have a friend that has a private jet, encourage them to fly on April 8th. Just casually mention it. And they'll be like, what are you talking about? And saying, hey, if you're casually going to go in the air on April 8th, take me with you. All right. Oh, and by the way, buy some special eclipse glasses because you never know when you might see an eclipse. And then, bam, a magic surprise will unfold in front of their eyes. And they'll say, wow, you're the coolest best friend ever. And then you just won brownie points with your friend that owns a jet. So many perks to that. Anthony says, LOL, casually, very casually, okay? Like nonchalant. That's how you got to do it. Greg says, or you could just drive there and experience it safer. Yeah, but you're still seeing it from the ground. I mean, like, yeah, it's cool, but it won't be as cool as being on a plane and seeing it. Oh, oh, oh. My computer just went all berserk. Out of all the articles that we covered, which one was your favorite? Let me know in the live chat. Let me know in the comments, as I do always try my best to read all of the comments. I'm going to place my QR code up here for all of my social media links. Also, where you can find my music channel called Cosmic Portals. There I make space ambient music. You can also find like my Twitter, Instagram, my website, and where I write all of my articles for the shows that we do right here on this channel. You can find that on strangeparadigms.com or even on Medium. And then you just put at Cristina Gomez and you will find it there as well. Oh, I do want to say thank you to everyone watching this live, all the super chats, super stickers, YouTube members, Patreon supporters, all of my amazing moderators, and those that caught this live, and even those that caught those on replay as well. That is it for today. I will see you next time. Be safe, and remember, keep your eyes on the skies.